I, female 31, have been with my husband 36 for 3 years. We don't share finances and we each contribute to household expenses equally and individually. He's pretty adamant about being respected when it comes to money, meaning I shouldn't be asking him for money to pay for personal stuff, and the same goes for him, save for when it's an emergency. Last month, I was at the mall shopping for a dress to wear at my sister's wedding, and the money wasn't enough, so I called my husband to ask him for money, about $200, but he refused even though we had the money. I wasn't upset. Well, yes, I'm not going to lie, I was upset about it because I ended up buying a cheaper dress, but I didn't make a fuss or fight with him for not giving me money. Just a couple of weeks ago, he was involved in an accident. It wasn't serious, but his knee was bad and got worse. So he asked if I could help him pay for the hospital bill because he didn't expect to stay longer due to his injury, but I refused. He begged, but I said no was still no. He tried to guilt me into paying by saying that I had money and that he was dealing with an emergency. I said his irresponsibility, whether money or driving, wasn't my problem. He ended up getting help from his mom. She paid for the entire bill, then grilled me hard about my refusal to pay. She called me a vile witch and said I was devoid of empathy or any wife material to do this to my husband. I was bothered by her harassment and told my husband to get her to back off. He sided with her. I had an argument with him about his double standards where I'm expected to pay for him and him not doing the same for me, like the dress incident a month ago. He looked at me in disbelief, called me insane, and said that I was at fault for not helping him because, unlike the dress incident, this was an emergency. Even said I stepped out of line to act this petty and vindictive. I walked out of the room to cool off, but it lasted for days, and he's still salty about it. Don't even get me started on his mom. Am I the idiot? I think I was just holding my part of the no mixed finances policy. You are the idiot. You specifically say that you don't share finances, save for when it's an emergency. You wanting a new dress isn't an emergency. Your husband having an unexpected hospital visit and stay is the very definition of an emergency. They said to save their own money for their own emergencies, and then he played victim to mommy. I'm not saying they have a healthy or productive relationship or that they should be in one period, but both OP and husband are idiots. Why did you guys get married in the first place? Exactly my thoughts. Marriage is when you work together, not against each other. I kept trying to verbalize what OP and her husband are doing to each other, and they're just doing their best work against their partner. Like, are you married or just roommates who sleep together? I don't think there's anything wrong with having some degree of separation in your finances, but the level of mutual spite and vindictiveness in OP's marriage is crazy. But he apparently had to involve his mother as his wife refused to help. This is an everyone's the idiot here, and you'll need some marriage counselling or something. You suck for being petty over him not giving you extra money for the dress you wanted, and you punish him by not helping him with his hospital bill. Do the vows in sickness and in health ring a bell? Your husband sucks for involving his mommy, not for helping with the bill but for letting her harass you about it. This is an issue between the two of you, and she's creating more drama than necessary. But ultimately, OP, you suck the most in this, and you probably put a lot of strain on your relationship. Good luck. Yep, everyone's the idiot here, I totally agree. Keep deluding yourself that marriage can thrive on equally and individually, and you get this pitiful OP. I don't get these separate finances married couples. My husband and I married while still in grad school. We had neither a pot nor a window to throw it out of. Every marriage is different, but our separate finance is the norm now. A co-worker of my husband just got married and she was saying that everyone needs a prenup. She was shocked when we told her that we didn't have one. There's no need for a prenup when you're equally broke. I, 43 male, have a pre-tween son, Sam, who's a good boy, but like most kids his age will unfortunately often copy things he sees other people and kids doing, not understanding that it's wrong. Recently he called me by my first name during a conversation, and I was shocked. I admonished him and he told me his best friend, Frank, calls his dad by his first name. I explained to Sam that children referring to adults by their first name is rude and it was disrespectful for his friend to do that. I didn't punish him because he didn't know, but I made sure he understood the behaviour wasn't acceptable. Everything was fine until yesterday. My wife arranged a play date for the boys, and since Monday is my day to pick up our son, I picked up both Sam and Frank from school. They talked in the back seat and I heard Frank refer to his father by his first name. I needed to reinforce the rule with my son, or he would be confused, so I told Frank that it was rude of him to call his father by his name. Frank spoke back to me, saying that was what he called his dad. I reiterated that it was disrespectful and asked him to remember his manners while in my car. He got quiet, and the boys didn't talk much after that. I figured he was thinking about what I said. We'd only been home 10 minutes when Frank's father showed up to retrieve his son. He didn't explain why he was so early, he just picked up his son and left. An hour ago, I got a text from him calling me a major idiot and telling me I was way out of line trying to parent his son. He told me I'd disrespected his child, which makes no sense at all, as he's a third grader, not a peer. I think this guy is a little wacky, but my wife says I shouldn't be trying to parent someone else's child, as I wouldn't want anyone else to parent our son. She has a point, but I wasn't trying to parent him, just keep my son from being confused. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Your wife is right. You don't get to make rules for this other guy's son. It feels like this is more of a power trip than anything else. Silly rule. Being called by your first name isn't disrespectful, but I can see how someone who is insecure in their parenthood would think so. Oh please, in my area it is rude for a child to call a parent by their first name. It's considered impolite, but then again we are still taught to say mum and sir to adults where I come from. Those are our cultural norms and we get to teach them to our children without accusations from those who believe differently. The whole point is that each parent gets to decide how to parent their child. Just because you don't find it rude doesn't mean others must adhere to your rules of manners, and accusing someone who insists on passing down the cultural norm of being insecure is ludicrous. It's actually fairly common when children realize that their parents have unique names outside of mom and dad to use first names. It usually passes quickly. However, there are so many blended families these days that I would never presume to tell another family what they should call their caregivers. You are the idiot. You have no idea what goes on in that house. Is he dad? Stepdad? Is the kid in foster care, etc.? And you owe that boy and his dad, or male guardian, an apology. I'm a grown woman, but I've always loved chilling out to a good Disney movie. They're comforting and straightforward, plus some of them have great stories. They're in no way all I watch, to be clear, but they are enjoyable. My boyfriend, however, disagrees. So he was over yesterday to hang out and watch some things. I told him we could watch something on Netflix or check out what was on Disney+. He laughed when I brought up Disney+, and said he didn't know I liked Star Wars. I told him it was alright, but not something I loved. He was confused about why I'd have a Disney Plus account then, and I told him how I loved Disney in general, and that they had a lot of good stuff outside of their classic movies, even if that was what I mostly leaned towards. I then suggested checking out Encanto, as I hadn't seen that one yet. He was shocked and a little disgusted, telling me he wasn't going to watch a children's movie and that I should have more pride in myself and that it was weird a 30-year-old woman who didn't have kids liked children's movies. I was surprised by this and asked him what his problem was and that they were just movies. He refused to back down on insisting it was weird and I shouldn't watch them. Honestly, it brought the whole mood down. We ended up watching Snowpiercer on Netflix, but I couldn't enjoy it as I was bummed out from what he'd said. I thought it was perfectly normal to enjoy Disney still. Granted, not many of my friends do, but I don't see why, just because I've hit the 30, I shouldn't still watch those movies. Not the idiot, red flags all round. Girl, it doesn't matter if you're 95 and still watching Disney movies. You do whatever you like. He can see himself out and let the door hit him on the way out. Not the idiot. I'm 37, and if someone told me I still couldn't watch Beauty and the Beast, I would laugh at their face. He is just trying to attack you, so you feel the need to be affirmed by him. This is a red flag, and I strongly encourage you to reconsider allowing this human near you again. Enjoy whatever media you want. This, so much. He's testing the waters to see how much you'll conform to his view of what is acceptable for his partner. You are not wrong, but you may want to reconsider anything more serious with this dude. Your boyfriend's insistence that you're weird is really very stupid and rude. Wait, I grew up on and enjoyed Star Wars, but it's ultimately about space wizards doing fantastical things. We do not talk about midi-chlorians, while capital ships rock in time with their guns like 19th century frigates despite there being no applicable physics. And this is his example of acceptable adult fare? It's entertainment. And few things are more exhausting than idiots who want to put a damper on what other people enjoy. Not the idiot, but I feel more sorry for him than anything else. All he's doing is needlessly cutting himself off from something he will never know he might have enjoyed. This sounds bad, but I can explain. Me, 22 female, and my sister Alice, 21, are very close in age and get along very well. However, Alice and I do not get along with our older sister Beth. She spreads so many false rumours throughout our family and has always found a way to be a victim in every way imaginable. Beth claims everyone's out to get her and has never been held accountable. Beth is 26 and doesn't have a license, car, house, or valid ID. She moved across the country to get away, but still needed my mom to pay her rent. I could keep going. Last year, Sister Alice was trying to get pregnant. Beth was jealous after finding out, so she started taking prenatal vitamins and texting Alice, taunting her, saying things like, "I'm older, I should get pregnant first. Let's see who gets pregnant faster." Every phone call she had with my mom, she would joke that she might be pregnant, constantly sending pictures of the vitamins as if it were a race. When Beth would visit, she would bring a bunch of dollar store pregnancy tests and leave them all over the house so everyone could see. Beth never ended up pregnant and Alice had a baby boy. Fast forward to 2 months ago, Beth FaceTimes Alice in the middle of dinner and is just holding up a positive pregnancy test with a smirk on her face. Alice hangs up because they never got along to begin with and doesn't know what Beth wanted her to say. Beth later calls my mom saying that she's pregnant and doesn't know what to do and that she doesn't know who the dad is. She started meeting men off Tinder to get pregnant. My mom is worried and doesn't know what to think and starts talking about maybe Beth should move back into the house. Less than 24 hours pass and I ask my mom if Beth is going to the doctor and my mom says she lost the baby, almost crying. Beth claims that she took another pregnancy test and it was negative, therefore she had a loss. When my mom told me she lost her baby, I couldn't keep a straight face. Beth just really blew me away with how far she would go for attention. My mom went off on me and told me to go away. In those 24 hours between tests, she reached out to 2 of our cousins who were also pregnant at the time and announced her pregnancy to them. Beth never spoke to them and has also talked crap about them, but ran to tell them about her pregnancy? Now Beth is sharing a post all over Facebook about losing her baby and joining lost pregnancies groups. From my understanding, pregnancy isn't confirmed until an ultrasound. So am I the idiot for not caring? Was she truly pregnant? As a woman, I would say yes, but knowing Beth personally, I just can't accept that it was ever real. Not the idiot, I think Beth has some problems. She sounds entitled and only wants to get pregnant in order to take the attention Alice was getting. Also, using Tinder to get pregnant is a horrible idea. Her behavior is not just attention-seeking and drama-mongering, she's a danger to herself and others. Not the idiot, I think you should stop worrying about whether or not it's true or real or what Beth's whole life situation is. One of my favourite phrases is, "Not my monkeys, not my circus." If she wants to be in these Facebook groups, she can. If she wants your mom's support, she can get it. You and Alice don't need to be involved, and I think you know and have known for a long time that distance from Beth is good for you. Beth is mega idiot. As someone who's had multiple pregnancies lost, I can tell you there's no way she got a negative test 48 hours after a positive unless it was a false positive, which is very rare. If she had a loss, the hormones don't suddenly disappear and take days or weeks to show as a negative depending on how far along you are. Honestly, this disgusts me when people pretend to be pregnant and have a loss for attention. Beth needs mental health help. My wife, 34, and I, male 42, have been married for 12 years. We have 3 kids. She married me young, 22. She never really had a job and didn't do well in school, and I didn't attend university. These things don't bother me. I've been a work-from-home dad since day one, very flexible schedule. I wake up early, make breakfast for the kids, wife sleeps in, would send them to school most of the time, send them to sports practice, cook dinner, otherwise it's takeout as my wife doesn't like to cook. I also hired a maid who takes care of the daily cleaning, laundry, ironing, etc. But my wife does have mild OCD and cleans it again, mopping and vacuuming daily despite us trying to tell her not to. We live in an upper middle class neighbourhood, we make decent money, but we could save more, especially with the kids growing and we're not getting any younger. I say we as we are a family, but I'm really the sole earner in 12 years. Despite my wife's lack of, say, education and work experience, over the last 12 years, I and her own family have always asked her to find a working hobby outside the family circle to have something of her own. Unfortunately, my wife is very insecure about her background or education and, if pressed, often results in negative outbursts with huge defences. She always resisted the idea and confronted me with, "I am toxic and unsupportive for not wanting her to be comfortable." So come 2022, I had a chat with her that as much as I can provide, there had to be a plan B, and if we want to plan for retirement and save for better educational options for the kids, we have to start now, together. Instead of a full-time job, we decided, after much drama, on joining her friends selling mutual fund and healthcare, which is something she can do on her own time, and the money is hers to keep. So, yeah, she hates me for it. She has to study and do something outside her comfort zone. She keeps telling me that I'm toxic, unsupportive, and don't want to see her happy. Real anger in her voice. For me, as much as she wants to relax and be comfortable, I want to grow and provide the best education and future for my kids and our retirement. But I can't do it alone, especially if my competent wife, very charming and approachable, instead of trying to contribute and work together, wants to let things be. So, am I the idiot for wanting my wife to have a side gig income so that we have provided a better life for our kids and retirement? Side note, currently I give her a monthly allowance to spend on herself. I pay for groceries, mortgage, bills and everything, including her insurance and monthly investment funds. She refuses to have her own credit card and uses mine with my permission to spend, but still, there's a lack of accountability from my point of view. But again, it's always a big fuss, and I am being called controlling and toxic. Not the idiot. So you're the sole provider for the family, you also tend to the children's needs, you take care of the cooking, and you've hired someone to care for the house. Financial, childcare, meals and housekeeping are all on your plate. What is your wife actually contributing to the family? One thing you can start with, let go of the housekeeper. Your wife already redoes it anyways and you're just wasting money. Not to be cruel, but what does your wife actually do all day? Sounds like she sleeps and lies around while you take care of the kids and work at home. You even hired a maid for her. She is being a baby and needs to contribute. It seems to me you're giving away more than she is. Although you seem like a great dad and provider, she seems lazy and unsupportive of your family's future. I mean, kind of not the idiot, but you married someone who never really left adolescence emotionally and have not given her any reason to do so until now. You changed your agreement to be the sole provider of apparently everything from her perspective. The fact that your wife uses your credit card with permission and has an allowance is troubling. This is not something a grown adult with 3 kids in a healthy functioning relationship should be doing. She needs to learn financial responsibility ASAP. What if you suddenly become unable to work or die? Either she needs to put on her big girl shoes or you should be discussing the future of your relationship.